Hey everybody, Super Ultimate Nintendo Master here. Yeah, that's right, I'm finally back from my 100-year slumber. Anyways, it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video. No, I meant a video where I actually tried on. And at the time that this video is uploaded, I'm currently working on another video behind the scenes. It's a mobile game, if you couldn't tell by the community posts. Speaking of which, I unlock community tabs now. And while you wait, I decided to come up with a new video series. And I call this video series Opinionated Rants. Anyway, if this video series title wasn't self-explanatory enough, what it basically means is I'll be talking about different topics ranging from game reviews, or just reviews of things in general, things going on in the world, or just my personal takes on stuff. For example, this video right now, I'm going to be doing a hot take on something. Probably not even a hot take, but whatever. Also, a huge disclaimer before I get this video started. A lot of the videos in this series are going to be very, very satirical, which means they're going to be over-exaggerated or make things like way bigger than they seem. So it's recommended that you take what I say, most of it, with a grain of salt. But the main point I'm trying to get across is not over-exaggerated. For example, I hate this character in Dragon Ball Legends. It didn't break, right? Hey everybody, future Super Ultimate Nintendo Master here. So, at the time that I am recording this part, I actually already have MUI because I pulled them from the 70 million users campaign, specifically the Legends of Limited Summon. The one where you guarantee one, I mean. And, after using him, I can officially say that I am now a hypocrite because I use him on a team. However, am I a complete hypocrite? I would say no. Because I only really use them to counter, like yellow characters, like Ultra Vegeta Blue, and now Ultra Kid Buu. Why? Because they pose threat to my Ultra Vegeta Blue, who I need to make sure wins because he practically is like the reason for 90% of my wins in PvP. That being said, however, just because I have the character and I use him and I play him mainly to counter characters that I would probably counter my Ultra Vegeta Blue, that doesn't mean I don't find the character annoying. I still think that some design choices are completely flawed and don't make sense, or at least are very, very aggravating to play against. There will be some matches where I'll be playing with a different team and I'll encounter an MUI user, and I just don't have any fun doing the majority of that match. So with that further said, let's get back to this video now. Now, with that being said, I don't hate Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku in general. I like the character very well. I've seen his fight with Jiren in Dragon Ball Super along with the entirety of Dragon Ball Super, so I understand how Goku used it and what its meaning is in terms of like the name, like Mastered Ultra Instinct. Which, yes, I know, it's self-explanatory, and I'm saying like I understand how Goku got Ultra Instinct and why he needed and what. That being said, I also understand why he was pretty hyped when he released around the anniversary, 4th anniversary to be exact, in Dragon Ball Legends. Even though he got leaked months earlier, but he was still pretty hype. Hype or not, I still hate the character's kit. Well, not all of it, but still. So, with that being said, let's talk about the things I don't hate about the character's kit, but I still dislike.
Disappointment in the game of life!
Alright, let's start with the one thing that I actually like about this character. The animations. Many characters that are seen in Dragon Ball Legends have a lot of their animations focused straight out of their source material, which is no wonder because that's what they do with like many other Dragon Ball games. You see this in Fighters with those whatever finishes they call them, I don't remember them. Xenoverse has the dramatic finishes, and Dragon Ball Legends has legendary finishes. These type of finishes reference one major move that the character does, and practically puts them as like their ultimate attack. Now, of course, MUI is no exception to this. His animation is great, and it clearly references what it clearly references. His blue card references his Kamehameha against Jiren to stop that projectile thing he had going for him. Even his Dokabaki auto win, yeah, we'll get to you later, don't worry about that. It references the clash he had with Jiren in that one scene from the fight with Jiren. His animations are great. Now, with that said, let's get to the one thing I once saw a person complaining about, his cover changes. Now, I'm going to be straight up with you. His cover changes are not annoying. Yes, he has 2 of them, but hey, at least they're not comboable, sort of like a certain you-know-who.
Futile!
Yeah, the fact that it's futile can literally just obliterate you with one blue card if you're playing a green unit, I think it's pretty much fair to say that we are being way too harsh on MUI with the cover change. With that said, let's add a point to the things I don't dislike about MUI. Yeah, this is probably the highest the point system will ever go. In terms of other noteworthy things about MUI, let's bring up his unique gauge, and I think it makes perfect sense for the way that it works. Well, most of it anyways, but still. I think it makes perfect sense for it to not only just evade the attacks, but also counter them if they're a red or yellow card, excluding tap attacks, that is. With all that said and done, I'm going to rapid fire through the way of the other things I don't hate about the character. I don't hate how his green card gives him key and gives him a free strike card, as well as getting rid of attribute downgrades and giving him ultimate damage. I don't hate that his blue card reduces sub counts and cannot be cancelled by many other moves. I don't hate that his ultimate just completely ignores blast darts. I don't hate that his main gives him cover null and other crap, and I could care less about him getting endurance as last man standing. And that's about it for the things I don't necessarily hate about the character. Now, we're gonna start getting there. Yeah, so you guys remember what I said about MUI's unique gauge and how it makes perfect sense? There's one important detail I left out, and that's the stalling factor of the unique gauge. When you play MUI Goku, or any of the other UIs for that matter, because the unique gauge is the one that basically does all the dodging for you, at least in terms of red or yellow cards, the player is practically just encouraged to just stand there and let the game play itself for them. This in turn messes with the pacing of the match, which makes it feel much slower. Now, of course, like I said, this is prevalent with all of the other UIs, but since MUI can literally attack your opponent back for trying to hurt you, I think it's much more annoying for him in that regard. This in turn becomes even more annoying if the MUI tries to fight back at you because it knows you're trying to deplete its gauge by using tap attacks.
I mean, come on, man. It's already hard enough that you have one of the biggest Uno reverse cards in the whole game, but for you to act all high and mighty on me by just floating around there waiting for me to attack like, just attack, damn it!
But that's nothing. Let's talk about how the unique gauge recovers.
The first way that the unique gauge recovers is quite simple. If you leave MUI or any of the other UIs on standby, their unique gauge will recover over time, meaning that the next time they enter the battlefield, they'll actually have more of the unique gauge than they did when you last put them to the side.
Now, if UIs didn't have this, I think that they would be significantly worse, and I really am glad that they have this feature. MUI, however, has one extra line of dialogue in his unique ability that I absolutely despise. And that is, restores own unique gauge by 15% every time this character uses a strike or blast darts card. Hang on. So you're telling me that after already doing nothing by just floating around waiting for the enemy to try to attack me so I can just attack them back, if I actually try to do an attack myself, I'm rewarded with a portion of my gauge that gives me a chance to do nothing all over again? Who the hell was in charge of designing this character? Now, I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why they decided to make this design choice.
Could it be to reward the player for actually trying to attack, risking getting caught in a combo instead? No, because then they do that for every other character, hell, every other fighting game, to be exact. Okay, then what about providing an easy way to restore this character's unique gauge without actually needing to put him on standby? His mother green card already does that. Yeah, finding any reasoning for this stupid mechanic has turned out unsuccessful, no matter how I think of it. This might be one of the most unnecessary mechanics given to a character's kit in terms of not really referencing anything and just being there so MUI can stall even more. Believe it or not though, there is something worse about this character that made this character my least favorite unit in the entire game. Dokabaki Impact. A wonderful mechanic in the game that works like this. When two forward charging moves collide, it triggers a Dokabaki Impact. You tap the screen when the line is highest and the person with the highest number wins the impact. This simple mechanic can decide the fate of most matches simply because losing this impact might mean you lose the game or a character. There have been some games I've played where because me or the enemy wins Dokabaki Impact, we can make a comeback, and thus, we win the match. I consider being good at Dokabaki Impact a really important factor going to most matches, given the fact that sometimes the Dokabaki Impact will come up, and then it'll have a big impact on the rest of the round. I swear that pun was not intentional. Now, since I'm bringing up Dokubaki Impact, what does this mean if you're playing as or against MUI and you enter Dokubaki Impact? It means that if you do Dokubaki against MUI, you lose. You just straight up, you lose.
Don't believe me still? I'm going to read off a portion of this character's kit. This character will automatically win most Dokubaki impacts and inflict damage to the enemy when 2 forward charging arts, or attacks, strike arts, ultimate arts, etc. collide. The damage from this attack cannot cause the enemy to be defeated.
Now, before I go ahead and rant about this dumb little gimmick, I'm going to provide a counter-argument and say that the Dokubaki Auto Win deserves to be here. Given that it's such a clever way to add a unique method of attack to a character, while also staying true to their source material. As like I said before, it references the clash with Jiren as he was struggling to land a good blow on Goku. Even with that said, I still hate this decision with every fiber of my being. As I said before, Dokubaki Impact can have a big effect on the rest of the match, given how sometimes it can lead to a really big comeback. Now, you can't even approach MUI for a Dokubaki Impact because no matter what, it will always favor him, turning an essential game plan for approaching practically a danger to you now. But I'm getting way too deep into this. Summarizing all of this, we have a character with a unique gauge that auto-dodges and hurts you, multiple ways of said unique gauge being recovered, with one of them being really questionable, and last but not least, this same character shuts down a method of attack for you, which sometimes even puts you into checkmate situations. And when you add these 3 ingredients together, as a result, you get my least favorite character in Dragon Ball Legends. Now, before I see the comment section littered with nasty hate comments, I do realize there are worse releases like LF Cooler for how he countered a perfectly fine unit, and Beast Gohan for how stupidly broken he was. But MUI feels different to me, simply because he was the unit I remember hating the most, more than Cooler and Beast Gohan. Because at least with them, Cooler falling off made me laugh as hard as I could, and Beast Gohan is just a funny character in general. In other words, at the end of the day, MUI will always be the unit I hate the most.
Die, ugly beast! Okay. All good now. Alright, with all that said and done, this marks the end of episode 1 of Opinionated Rants, and the end of me discussing my hatred towards this character that God created to make me repent for my sins. With all that said and done, I'm going to get in here and watch She-Hulk, something I've actually been looking forward to. Let's see if it's good or not.
A few moments later.
She-Hulk is the most disappointing TV show I've ever watched, and it makes me hate it even more than MUI now.